Welcome back to Northern Sounds ASMR. On this wild and woolly, wet and windy Thursday morning. It's not really been May, has it? 1st of May on Saturday, which was my birthday, by the way, and beautiful day. Spent the day outside at the back, and beautiful weather, lots of cake, because I'm very old now. And however, I've been reliably informed that my last video, the sound was atrocious, and that's probably got a lot to do with the fact that I put a brand new battery in my connector microphone thingy for all you technos out there. Excuse me. And frog in the throat. And as such, I had the microphone way too close and it was just way too loud, so I apologise profusely. So I thought I would do another reading from the local newspaper, but this one's quite an old one. This one's from March. And see if I can make recompense for the nonsense that I've been churning out lately. Okay. Now those of you who have seen it before, those of you who know, this is the Wirral Globe. Because I live in Wirral, in the UK, in England, for those of you who may not be from this country. And what we like to do is sit here and go through, shall we say, the local newspaper. And I've always had this, there was a comedian, I cannot remember who it was, some time ago, who said we should change the word local for when it comes to things like news, change the word local for the word crap. Now I think that's a little extreme, but sometimes you reading these things, you do understand the reasons why people might say that. However, we'll start on page 1, we'll look for good news and see what we can find, okay? Now then, headline of page 1, treasured facilities saved from closure. Much loved services have been saved after a marathon meeting this week. That was back at the beginning of March this year. Public consultation began before Christmas. Proposed closing the Williamson Art Gallery, which is a beautiful small gallery not far from here. Some delightful treasures in there, but it's a bit bypassed. But these things, with the arts, as my old artist friends will tell you, the arts need keeping going. It's amazing how much, it's just sheer revenue, how much money that the arts brings into the UK. I'm sure we're all aware of that now, surely by mainstream media news outlets telling us the figures, that billions of pounds that it brings in. And these things are seen as frivolous and just frippery, but you know, the art touches a lot of people. I know there's plenty of people who don't care about it, or think they don't care about it, but really enjoy watching a good film. That's art. Patronise, I apologise. Where was I? Much loved services. The Europa pools, the borough's 4 public golf courses, school crossing patrols and public toilets. Wow. These options were considered as the authority needs to save around $16.5 million to balance its budget. And we're all getting a 5% council tax rise, aren't we, across the UK? Across England. Blah, 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 which is supported by all parties, helps towards this. Around £10 million of further cuts must be made to make the council's sums add up. Shouldn't have messed it up in the first place. Blah, blah, blah. Monday night council meeting supported the plans to keep the Williamson Art Gallery open, as well as all 4 golf courses. Competition facilities at Europa pools will remain open, but the fun pool is set to be closed throughout most of the year. What a great shame. It's a huge swimming pool. It's like something you'd get in, I want to say Alton Towers, but that's not right. In Centre Parks, it's like one of those big wave machine pool things. That'd be a great pity if that closed. I was looking for good news. May only operate during school holidays. Well, I understand that because there's a lot of children that go and use it, and families and stuff. So yeah, I get that. Now, you may hear a bit of noise and see me looking off that way. I think we must have had a delivery of post or something, because my 2 young dogs are now looking at me, wagging your tail at you, Dally, and looking out. Where they are is slightly raised. My area here is lowered. I'm in a mezzanine. I have a mezzanine above me. This is a sunken room. This is my therapy room. I'm a hypnotherapist by trade, and this is my therapy room in one section of my house. And because this morning I'm on my own, I'm in charge of said hounds, my beautiful terriers, and so I haven't wanted to close the door on them. So I've left them wandering through the hall, but they can stand 5 foot higher than me at the moment, and they search straight for me, looking straight into my eyes. And also they can see out of these windows. We've got huge windows on the side here. 8 foot high, 4 foot wide windows, 2 of them. And they can see straight out, so the postman must have been. And they got very excited by that. Anyway, that was page 1. Hopefully a bit of good news. Even more good news. Funding boost to support YMCA work with homeless. That's excellent. It's a shame there are that many homeless. It's not an easy thing to just swipe wave a magic wand and sort out, is it? But a charity supporting homeless people across the borough has been given a boost of more than £4,000 to support its vital work during the pandemic. I shouldn't be laughing. I'll tell you a funny story in a moment. The £4,335 from the Morrison's Foundation will furnish and equip 5 bed spaces at YMCA Wirral's accommodation facility in Birkenhead. Excellent. Just give some people, give them a little boost up. Sometimes that's all it needs. My old friends, I have some old friends who are old now. I have some coffee as well on the go. Good for you. Cheers. Lovely. A couple of old friends of mine, Simon and Paul, and as is their wont, artisans, they often feel the need to help out society, community. Paul is very much a social entrepreneur. He does a lot of things with setting up community projects. That's the word I was looking for. Well, a few years ago, Christmas time, they wandered into Liverpool city centre, and they decided that they were going to feed some people. You know, we have in Liverpool city centre a famous landmark called the bombed out church, and it is a church, St Mark's, which was bombed during World War II and has remained there as a bombed out unit. It's it's preserved. The outside of the building is in one piece, but it was bombed through the roof and burnt out. If you ever come to Liverpool, it's well worth seeking out. It's a beautiful building. It's used for art projects often, poetry readings and things like that. But just outside it, you'll often find a soup truck, I suppose is the word. People who are there and regularly feed homeless people who know that they can go there and access food. But with this particular time, Paul and Simon were in that neck of the woods, and they were handing out sandwiches to people, some of whom their mental health is not I was going to say the best. It's not the most stable. And one guy in particular, Simon, went down and basically had to force a sandwich upon the guy because he really didn't want it. And as he was walking away, the guy threw the sandwich and it hit Simon on the back of the head, which he found hysterical, and we all laugh at. But the guy did not want the sandwich. He shouldn't have been forced upon him. Anyhow, cheers. I do like my espresso. I like it strong as well. Okay. Parade boats may have to go, Owen is told. The boats parked up on Mel's Parade have been a familiar sight to visitors for many years now, but now they have to go. Their owners are being urged to come forward and take them away as part of planned safety improvements by the council. There's as a peninsula, we're surrounded by beaches, and in an area called Mel's, it's a very old Viking settlement, which is now the suburbs, obviously, and people do tend to kind of moor their boats on the slipway and leave them there for years sometimes, and then either forget about them or come back to them. And some people use the area to moor their boats, to use the slipway, which is very common. But they're being told to move them because some boats are described as, quote, in serious disrepair and are causing a significant safety hazard. And they've got a picture of a couple of boats and a trailer, which, honestly, people just forget, I think. I don't know if they get old and can't maintain them, can't look after them. There's a famous Madonna saying, which I'm not going to say, about boats and aeroplanes. Some of you may know it. Right, let's see what else we can find from page 1. I'm afraid, folks, I'm at that age where my fingers don't work. You'll lick your fingers. Turn the page. COVID cases keep falling. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I'm all jabbed up. I have my 2 jabs. Free sign language lessons. A new initiative to encourage more members of the public to take up sign language as an extra language and skill is now available to residents of Wirral. Well, that's excellent. The Signs for Life scheme helps people to communicate and engage with children and adults who may have hearing impairments. Hannah Riaz, Sign for Life Partnerships Officer, said, we are offering a free 6-week BSL program, British Sign Language, which you can enjoy and access from the comfort of your homes, delivered through Zoom. Well, that's really very good. I may look into that. I may well look into that. Royal National Lifeboat Institution, RNLI, Save Women and Kids. A woman stranded with her children and dogs had to be rescued by West Kirby's lifeboat crew on Monday, as the team were called out twice to incidents in quick succession. Responded to calls to assist small party walkers on Middle Hilbury. We have a section of very small islands just off the coast. They're walking distance when the tide's out. If you follow the walking path, don't cross the sands, because the tide comes back in, it will surround you, and some of those sands can hold water and you can be trapped very easily. This is on the edge of the River Dee, and there are things called Little Eye, Middle Hilbury and Hilbury Island, and these people were caught out on Middle Hilbury. And then in response to a separate call concerning people in the water by Little Eye, which is the first of the... So you look it up, it's a fascinating place, fascinating. It's great if you want to go and watch, you could wander out there and take a picnic, and as the tide comes in, watch the seals swim around the island. It's a great little place. I did it last year with me and my missus, and my missus's cousin came over from Norway, and we went out there and had a little picnic on the rocks. Crossover improvement embarrassing. No, we don't know that. Train services set to increase. That's nice. Merseyrail will be increasing its services across most lines from Sunday, March 14th. The move is in response to more staff being available as the number of new COVID-19 cases continue to fall in Merseyside. Right, so it's not, they're not putting extra trains on or anything like that. It's just there are more staff available to go back to work. Okay, that's fine. Getting advice on family law. The Coral Record LP with Grandad. Some of you may know the pop group, the popular music combo, the Coral. Very clever bunch of people, really. And they are behind lots of other artists as well. She Drew the Gun, artists like that, bands like that. The Wirral Group's 10th studio album, Coral Island, will feature 85-year-old Ian Murray, also known as the Great Moriarty, on guest vocals. That a granddad of two of the band's members will feature on their new record. Very good, very good. A great band, very original. Derivative and original at the same time. That's not easy to do. They've been around a long time now. Nice coffee, and that's good fun. Pulling together the strands of Roaring Saturday Night stories on side A and the sense of long Sunday longing on side B, Mr. Murray takes centre stage as the record's seasoned narrator. Marvellous. Good fun. Recorded it at Parr Street Studios in Liverpool. Parr Street Studios are very popular with many artists from around the world, in fact. Very cultural area, this. Unlock tax-free cash from your home. NHS. Stay home, protect the NHS, save lives. This is from March. Lovely picture there of West Kirby Marine Lake. And I'm looking for good news. I'm looking for good news. Oh, Urban Splash to start on homes. Urban Splash were a Manchester-based, I was going to say real estate organisation, but really they started developing old warehouse units and went from there strength to strength. Were a great part of Manchester's revival in the 1990s, when I was a great part of Manchester in the 1990s. And they've been around a long time now. And it looks like they are starting to build homes in the East Float development. East Float, a project by Urban Splash and Peel Holdings, I suppose, will create around 350 homes using a bold and an innovative new approach. Very good. There's a lot of money being poured in, mainly Chinese money, into what's called rural waters. Preparing for classroom return. Well, this is kind of old news now, isn't it? That's a kitchen advert and a boiler advert. Looking for more. Paramedic clocks 46 years of service. Wow. Paul Townley's been part of the ambulance service for 46 years. Wowza. I don't think I've ever done anything for 46 years other than breathe. Making him one of the North West Ambulance Service's longest serving employees. Good for you, man. He's 63. Joined the service in January of 1975. Wowza. 40 years, man and boy. And all that. Bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. Bad news, bad news. We don't want bad news, do we? We're looking purely for good news. Lots of adverts for double glazing. Lots of double glazing companies in Wirral. Community, go green to raise stick and step cash, whatever that means. Little actors, get tested, actor, blah, 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 blah. More roses for sale. Still plenty of people who buy things from newspapers, aren't there, rather than Tinternet, to steal a phrase from somebody else. Approval for new homes in Liso. More adverts. More adverts. Lots of adverts. I suppose there isn't much news in March. It's no good. I'm going to have to do the. I don't know. Well, it's the puzzle, which we've mentioned before. The puzzle pull-out. You've got spot the difference and crosswords and things like that. Then it's Chef Annalise Gregory talks to Ella Walker about diving, cooking and bookkeeping in the wilds of Tasmania. That's a long, long way away. How wild things are. Cooking, fishing and hunting at the bottom of the world by Annalise Gregory. That's obviously her book. Good for you. Cashews of recipes in there, yeah. I watched an old edition of the Hairy Bikers last night doing their Mediterranean tour, and they stopped at they were in Mallorca, and it was stunning. The views were stunning, the area was stunning, and the food was stunning. And I'm very jealous. I can't speak today, can I? It's pretty poor. I'm very jealous of them. Got to take local listings. Well, soon, before you know it, you're at the back with local listings, pointing, and walls built and repaired, and conservatory roofs, electrical supplies, garden services, computer repairs, tree services, handyman, eco heating services, plumbing and central heating, painters and decorators, paving. I don't know if it's through my aged auntie. I have an auntie, as we call them here, who is not far off being 87, and comes up with phrases that are of a certain era. And where we would say things like, this guy he's a builder and he's a paver, because he lays flags and paving stones. She calls him a pavior, because way back then, that was your title, you were a pavior. Zut alors. Anyway, I digress. Gutters and fascias, plastering systems, plasterers. I know it's a cliche, but I love watching a plasterer do a good job. Amazing stuff. Plumbing, more plumbing, removals, all removals. Man with large van, that's not a euphemism. Williams, oh, no, sorry, no advertising, not advertising, sorry. No one pays me to advertise for them. Skip hire. Public notices, you have planning permissions for... I find this archaic still, that you have to... I'm putting an extension on my house, so I need planning permission, and I have to put an advert in the local paper. But of course you don't necessarily do that, because it's all about size of the extension compared to the size of your property, isn't it? There's a lot of rules and regs that have changed. Jobs, family notices. This is all the births and deaths and all that stuff. Family notices. It's very popular here to take out an ad to recognise and to celebrate the life of people. I don't know how you feel about it, but sometimes it's nice to see that people have been so loved, you know? And I don't mean people who are shy off who take out 6 pages, I mean people who are genuinely loved. Celebrations, wow. Mr. William Henderson, you're 104 on March 1st. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And then there's a review of motor cars. A particular Audi, the SQ2. Totally unnecessary, huge amount of money. I'm a petrol head. I have been a petrol head my entire life. I love cars, motorbikes, anything like that. But ugly cars with high prices, I don't understand. Just because it's an Audi doesn't mean to say it's the best car in the world, does it? And I love Audis. Certain Audis. Buying a car, and then there's the local second-hand car dealers, often advertising the back. Places like Wirral are a great place to buy used cars, I find, because there's a lot of people who, first of all, we're only a small section of the country as a peninsula, and often these are used as second cars. So you've got, say, perhaps the husband and wife, the husband goes out to work and the wife stays home and she does the school run and the supermarket shopping, or as somebody in particular I know very well, he stays at home, she does all the work. She has a very, no names, no pectoral, she has a very good high-powered job, influential job, and he looks after the grandkids, and he does all the shopping and the housekeeping and the housework, and I'm very happy. He's a nice guy. He's a bit of a local celebrity in Hoylake, and he does all of that kind of stuff. And so the cars, these people use their cars to get back and forth to the shops, back and forth to school, and sometimes you can get a vehicle of a certain age with very few miles on it at a real bargain price. It's always worth looking at places like Wirral for second-hand cars, I find. Oh yes, this is back in March, and there's a tribute to footballing legend, which he was, footballing legend Ian St John, or St John, as a Scotsman he should be called. He was an FA Cup winner with Liverpool in 1965. And there's a great photo of him here, which I think I'll share with you. See if you can see that. Check on the monitor there. Yeah, there you go. Happy, smiling man. And we turn over to the back page, advertising conservatories and orangeries and stuff like that. Well, I hope that sounded better for you. I hope the microphone has not been too close. I hope the battery has done the job that it's supposed to do. I will go and check this time before I just foolhardily upload. So I hope you're well. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the views. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And I hope you stick around to the end of the video. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.